Hotep family. Okay, here we go. Part two of lesson number 16, Goddesses, Set and Nbt Het. If you find this information valuable, please like. And if you learn something, please share. And if you want to learn more, please subscribe. In all cases, your comments, questions, and concerns are welcome. So, as always, the primary objective of this course is to be able to read the sacred script of our African ancestors, Medu Neter. In reading this, I will also make attempts to translate the sacred script into English. And I'll do that translation based on my African-centered perspective and use other resources at my disposal. So when we read the Medu Neter, we will, in this case, read these symbols from right to left into the face of the birds and the that we see. And again, previously we saw this. This is Gem Mek Nefer. That's how I would read it. Translating it becomes a little challenging, but one possibility, as we saw earlier, is to find the beautiful, find the beauty, and in most cases, I go with know thyself. So that's how I will personally translate Gem Mek Nefer. So what has been classified as Pharaonic Egypt lasted approximately 3,000 years before the barbarians took control of that region that we now call Egypt. The sacred script that we will be reading in this lesson and the script that I'll be trying to interpret is from the sarcophagus of Neb-Ankh, the sarcophagus which is also called the Neb-Ankh of Nbt Ht. Sometimes we would say Nbt Ht or Nbt Ht. And his Sarah name is Jehuti Mes. He was the third, or is the third, Sultan of the 18th dynasty, which is from Thebes. We see his name on the right-hand side enclosed in red. So in this photo, we see an image of the Neb-Ankh. Neb-Ankh is what we would call coffin or sarcophagus today. In 1904, the Boston Museum received this Neb-Ankh as a gift from a wealthy American lawyer named Theodore M. Davis. So I'm going to say it's a stolen coffin of one of our African ancestors. Um, on the outer side of the head of the Neb-Ankh, we see Necheret Aset. And on the outer side of the foot of the Neb-Ankh, we see Nbt Het. So in lesson 16, part 1, we read the sacred script above the head of Necheret Aset, and I'm going to review that briefly. So my primary source for identifying these Shanu is Dr. Ben's Black Man in the Nile and his family, as I indicated in earlier lessons. Dr. Ben chose the Nasut Biti title of Keper Kara, and he shows that using a standardized font to transliterate, which is to rewrite the sacred symbols into what we would identify as Roman alphabet. So on the casket, we see a longer title, and we kind of know it's a title because it is inside of a Shanu. So to read the Shanu, I would be reading it from right to left if I were reading the actual Shanu, but because we write our Roman alphabet from left to right, I have to write the alphabet out from left to right. But if you just bear with me, you could see that we get, if we read this, is Yeti Nasudbiti Neb Taui Neb Arit A Keper Kara A Neb A Nabet Aset Necheret. And this is what we arrived at from our last lesson. So the foot of the Neb Ankh is written from left to right, which kind of fits our alphabet. So if I were to read this particular set of Medu Neter, or this Shanu, I get Yeti, Nasud Biti, Neb Taui, Neb Arit, A Keper Kara, Pen Neb Aset, Neteret, Neb Nebet Het. So it's a little bit easier to follow that, I hope, because the transliteration is aligned with the actual Medu Neter, which is going left to right in this case. I should also point out that my pronunciation is not, I'm going to say how the ancestors would pronounce this. I'm using what I have learned in various classes and what I've gathered in my studies. However, I'm going to do the best I can. And, again, if someone comes along that knows better, I would definitely appreciate that knowledge. So in this part, we will read all of the sacred script below the Shinu, and we see that there are 4 columns of Medu Neter that we will begin to read and possibly try to translate. So I'm going to start with the first 3 columns on the right. Again, we could see that this is written from right to left because we're reading into the faces of the birds and also into the face of the Neteret Set, who is, again, facing the right-hand side. And just as the Shanu above is a Shanu inside of a Shanu, we see that the first column contains a Shanu inside of a Shanu. So my educated guess is that this is the name assigned to the Sultan inside of the Neb Ankh, or inside of the sarcophagus. The sacred script here begins with the walking stick and the cobra, and we again have kind of accepted this as meaning spoken or behold, or it is said. I'm going to go with behold for this one. So here we see the suit plant, the loaf of bread, which is a phonetic complement, and the ripple of water, which is N. So we would usually say this is suitant or nasut, and it is a symbol that indicates that this is the representative of the African people of the Upper Nile Valley. And inside of the inner Shanu, we see the Shanu with the name A Keper Kara. Now, A is translated as great. Keper is identified as somehow the resurrection, and Ka is the spirit, and Ra is Ra. So this might loosely be translated, or his name might be loosely translated as the great resurrection of the spirit of Ra. So here we have the reed leaf with walking legs, and a reed leaf behind that. The reed leaf alone is usually used as the pronoun he, and the reed leaf with the walking leg suggests that he walks or he is coming. So we have, and the ripple of water below that gives us the possible, again, reading that as en. or he comes, or he comes to, or he comes towards. The twisted flax, the ripple of water, and the arm and hand is read as Hannah and is translated as with or together with. And here we have the basket with the handle, the ripple of water, which again, the basket with the handle is translated as you or your, and the ripple of water again could be to you, to your. It's again a challenge for me to translate, but I know the basket with the handle again is the pronoun you or your. Ripple of water can be translated as to or for. So here we have the sickle and the uchik, and that's read as Mariu, and then we have the basket with the handle again, which is Mariuka. Mary is love. Mariu could be a lot of love. So your love, love for you, much love for you. Um, but it is indeed the end of the name of the Shanu, or end of the name inside of the Shanu. So the next two columns are not included inside the Shanu, so it's clearly not a name. So we're going to go with the idea that this is some sort of a statement, and it could be a statement uh, as something spoken by a set. But let's try to read it and see what we get. So we have the cobra, the walking stick, the reed leaf, and the ripple of water. So that gives us Jeti Ien. Jeti Ien. And again, we know that the reed leaf is a pronoun, and ripple of water is also a preposition. So this is spoken to him, spoken of him, spoken for him. So we should have no doubt that this is the symbol, the meta symbol for Aset. Aset is symbolized as the throne on which the Sultan sits, the throne on which the Sultan sits. The loaf of bread indicates the femininity or the female, and the egg. I also wondered about the egg and the connection with this egg and the Easter egg concept. I'm just throwing out a real random thought there. So this particular bird is followed by the leg and foot and the symbol for nature. So I believe that this is the white-footed goose, which represents the earth nature. The earth nature we identify as Geb. Um, Geb and Newt are identified respectively as uh, heaven and earth, Geb being earth and Newt being heaven. So I'm going to believe that this is Geb. So arm and a hand is a pair of arms and hands would be but we also could identify this as IE because we use the Y or the E idea or E pronunciation to indicate double. So it could be or IE. The K is again a pronoun for you or your, the basket with the handle. And the lotus flowers are lotus flowers. So I would translate this as receive your lotus flowers. There are many birds in Medonesia. This could possibly be the long-legged buzzard, teal. This particular bird is seen in the description of grave workers. It would be translated as welcome ye, in fact, welcome ye to the afterlife. It looks like that last symbol is the profile of a head with a beard and possibly the head of a pharaoh with a beard. It's kind of difficult to see, but that's what I'm going to go with. So again, this is the loose translation that I'm gonna offer for this particular column as spoken for him by Aset Netcher Geb. Welcome him, your lotus flowers welcome ye. Okay, I'm sure that's not exactly right, but that's what we're gonna leave it with right now, until someone comes up with something better or more accurate. But that wasn't the end of the sentence because the sentence continues in the next column and it continues with the suit, plant, loaf of bread, and the ripple of water, which again is read suitin or nasut. So the name inside of this Shanu is Jehuti Mess. This was identified as the Sarah name of Kepakara, but here we see that this is first identified as, or he's identified as Sutin Jehuti Mess, where we have the sacred ibis bird on the standard, three foxtails, and the folded cloth. Foreigners call this the Netcher, Jehudi. They call him Thoth. So here we have the folded cloth, which is transliterated with the letter S, the mace with a pear-shaped head, which we transliterate with the letters HDJ, and the basket with the handle, which is the folded, which is again K. The folded cloth is a pronoun, is usually a pronoun, but may not be here. The mace has the connotation of welcome, and the sunshine is what it is. So I'm gonna say this is probably possibly pronounced as Sahej or your sunshine. He welcomes your sunshine. So here we have the face looking forward with the is what it is. So we know that this is face, and we have the horned viper below that. So this is, it is what it is, his face. The rabbit with the ripple of water below it, the ripple of water in this case is more than likely a phonetic complement because the rabbit alone is transliterated with the letters W and N. It could be win, but if I want to add the extra N there, I guess it could be win N. And his win is translated as existence, or in English, it was the word is or to be. So here we have the canal or channel of water and the ripple of water below that, and that's transliterated with the letters MRN, Marin, and it actually is the same as the sickle, which is transliterated as MR. In this case, we have Marin K. Marin is typically translated as love, and this is Marin K, so this is your love. And last in this column, we have the ripple of water and the horned viper transliterated with the letters N and F, translated as to, for, of, and N is to, for, of, and the horned viper is transliterated as he, him, or his. So this could be to him, for him, of him, and all of those possibilities. Again, this is a rough translation. So far, what we have at the very top is the name of Kepakara, elaborated on in a larger canoe, ending with the name of Aset. And in the first three columns, we have again the name of Kepakara, elaborated inside of another canoe, ending with the words of love. And then in the next two columns, there is some statement of some thoughts relating um, to Kepakara, who is in this case renamed or named using his Sarah name, uh, Jehuti Mes. And again, some statements. I would love and appreciate your thoughts on how you might want to interpret this text. But however, there is a large section which has the image of Aset and the symbol of eternity. So we know that there is some strong connection between the text and the Netzeret Aset. There are some other words that we want to look at that's right to the right of her, above her head. So what we see in this small bit of sacred script, we see the two eyes, the horned viper, and what looks like the walking stick is sort of destroyed or hard to tell the bottom, but it appears to be the walking stick. So that would be read as Aref, Aref. And it might be translated as he sees the support. He sees the support. And in the last column, we see another canoe inside of a larger canoe. This canoe is not as easy to read because of the coloration, but we will do the best we can. And as usual, we see the walking stick and the cobra or jetty. So also inside of this canoe, we see the Sa Ra. So we know that the Sa Ra name should be following inside of the canoe, inside of the inner canoe. So we do see the Jehuti mess, but in addition to that, if we look real carefully, if I can put this together, we see the symbol for me and Ra, and so now we have Jehuti mess in me Ra, which is different from his original Sa Ra name. And again, we have the EEN. So we have the reed leaf with the legs walking forward, and the reed leaf and the ripple of water. And again, we translated that before, or I translated that before, as he comes. So looking this symbol up was not easy, but the best I could find was well, we have the ripple of water, and we have what looks like an apron, and there's the mouth. So we would try to translate this as in Irat air. So this is to your garment, to garment your, or for your garment, And the last set of Meadow Netya is the reed leaf, the owl, and the basket with the handle. And we would read this as Emek. And it's translated as with you, Emek. Again, that's the new elongated name inside of the Shinu. So I'm going to be daring and try to translate this as Behold the son of Ra, Jehudi Mes in Mirah. He comes to you with your apron. And again, I'm really trying to make the best translation I can. Cannot swear by this translation or guarantee that this is correct. And ideally, somebody else will come along and give a better and more accurate translation. So, what does this all mean? What were our ancestors writing on the ends of these Neb Ankh and trying to communicate to us? Well, we have a long way to go to learn to read this, but we have to start somewhere. So the struggle is real. So on the other end of the Nabank or the sarcophagus, we see very similar set of texts written in a very similar style with the Shinu at the top and three columns on the left and one column at the end. Um, we will pick up trying to transliterate and translate this, or particularly specifically to read this Meadow Netya in part 3. Okay, meanwhile, we're going to call this the end of lesson 16, part 2. So remember, if you find this information valuable, hit the like button. If you learn something, you can hit the share button. And if you want to learn more, or leave comments or suggestions or express your concerns, you can subscribe. Shem Hotep.